Is it recording? We record? Oh, hey. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Hold on. Just a second. Hold on. Okay. What's up, y'all? It's been a minute. Well, just a week. I haven't dropped an episode last week, and I didn't do a live stream last week because I was out of town for my birthday. I just kind of took advantage of that. And also, it worked out because I ended up getting sick, like really sick. I don't know what's going on. I'll talk more about it in my vlog that I'm also dropping this week. But it's a surprise vlog that I'll be recapping my grandma's 90th birthday party. I'm gonna drop it this week because it's gonna be real short. It might be 10 minutes, 15 maybe. It just really recorded the event like before and after. No, like before leading up to what I was doing in the event itself. And of course, I'm gonna do my cutaways and stuff. So it's gonna be real short, real short. Okay. Um, it's been a minute since I did a live stream again solo, and it's on Tuesday. But guess what? I needed the content, so I just went ahead and did it today because I was gonna do it yesterday, and then I was still feeling kind of like blah, like so I'm like, so I'm gonna do it today. It's just gonna be late, but hey, we need the content. So, what was I gonna tell y'all? I was gonna tell y'all something. We got to recap the most recent episode, which was it was the Father's Day episode. It technically wasn't Father's Day. It was in salute. It was like a small salute to Father's Day, as well as a small salute to Father's Day, as well as men's mental health. And I changed the title of it because I got caught up with a YouTube expert. I won't say YouTube expert, but somebody who basically explains some things to do with some tricks that we can do to kind of really push the algorithm, so to say. So the episode was titled it's titled Lawrence Harris, Not Every Man Should Save the Family, something like that. Yeah. So we did that and pretty excited about that. Like I said, it ended up being a good episode. So yeah. What was I about to tell y'all? So with that episode, the guy's name was Lawrence C. Harris. He had reached out to me a few weeks back, and I didn't have a Father's Day episode, and I wanted to take a different approach with Father's Day this year because I felt like it's a fly in here on that, whatever it is. I wanted to take a different approach because I just felt like, you know, we always talk about celebrating fatherhood, and we still celebrating it. But his story was a little different because he hated his daddy. And he said he forgave him and he's moved past it. But if you didn't watch the episode, he talked about that was abusive. The wife didn't like him, the little boy. He was physically abusive. He was verbally and emotionally abusive, and how he overcame that and speaking to people and helping people find their purpose. So it was a good episode, but I also liked in the episode how I went a different approach. And a lot of times when we talk about fathers, like so I reference in the Bible Abraham when it was like get out of your father's home. And that's a phrase or one we forget about, was like get out of your father's home. Um And in this case, we talk about it from the angle of your father's holding you back or your family's holding you back, because that's interchange. You could say family, you could say any of that, right? But in this case, he literally had to get out of his father's home because he ended up losing his father. Not lost custody of him, but they gave up the rights to be to him, so he just stayed with his mother full time while the other kids went to the daddy house. And even though you didn't want to go to daddy house, just imagine what that does to you. I feel like as a child, just to be like, you hate your daddy, you hate a parent in general, and then these other people, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, why does he hate me so bad, but then he don't treat the other ones like that? And I probably should have done more of a deep dive into like, so well, how did he treat the other siblings? But it was really just about him and what he went through and what he's overcome. I think he said in the episode he graduated from high school. His dad texted him congratulating him. He was like, "Thank you, but I want nothing to do with you." And it's like, can you blame him? You know, I'm interested to see what their dynamic will be in maybe like 5 to 10 years, though. Will it stay that way? Will he, let him back in? Like, I wonder what will happen, because some people, anything can happen. Anything can happen. That's something to keep in mind. But overall, it was a good episode, and I am ready for everything else that's going to pop coming up. Okay. All right, y'all. So, not going to be before you long. We have two topics today. One of them centering around R. Kelly. And we'll start with that because I think something happened where he overdosed in the jail and rushed to the hospital. So, uh, let's watch this quick little clip. And let me share my screen and let's get to it now.
R&B singer and convicted felon R. Kelly. Take a look at this post on X, courtesy of TMZ, in which they say that R. Kelly was reportedly rushed to the hospital from an overdose of medications in prison. TMZ also releasing an article. I do want to read you some of the report that they have already issued here, as R. Kelly, TMZ says, is doubling down on his claim that his life is in grave danger in prison, now alleging the Bureau of Prison staff at his federal center in North Carolina purposefully gave him too much medication, causing an overdose that left him hospitalized. A court filing submitted by his attorney Monday claims R. Kelly was left bedridden in a hospital after a solitary confinement staff member instructed him to take additional medication the night of June 12th. The next morning, R. Kelly allegedly awakened feeling faint and dizzy, and when he attempted to get up, he fell on the floor, crawled to the door of the cell, and lost consciousness. He was subsequently taken to Duke University Hospital, and during the ride there, he claims he heard a prison officer begrudge, quote, "This is going to open a whole new can of worms." During his 2-day stay at the hospital, Kelly says he learned he was given an amount of his prescribed medication that could have ended his life. Furthermore, Kelly claims in his Monday filing that prison staff took him off necessary blood thinner medication and is now refusing to allow him a doctor-recommended surgery to clear blood clots in his legs and lungs that are putting his life in danger. Instead, they have him locked up in solitary confinement, where Kelly has expressed to his lawyer he is convinced he will be killed or left to die. Therefore, the disgraced music mogul is asking for temporary release to home confinement for the third time, arguing his life depends on it. Foiled murder-for-hire plot against him. His team submitted a sworn statement from another inmate who claimed authorities offered him release from prison if he murdered the singer.
Okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. All right, let's get into the first topic today, which is what does this have to do with mental health? So, first of all, you're in jail, and just imagine being a celebrity in a jail like situation like that. Like you did all these things, these heinous acts, and you feel as though there's conspiring to kill you, or excuse me, unalive you. Could this be true? Possibly. Um, and it's sad because it's like I may catch hell for this, but no one deserves to like be murdered, right? Unalived. So when people say some people deserve, and you could argue that, but in this case, it's like, I wonder why now. It's like, why now? Why now are they trying to unalive him? Because he's been in there for a while now, right? That's my question. Now, that's not going to be a good feeling to be on edge all day, wondering if this is gonna be the day you beat unalive. This is gonna be the day, this happens. And then they playing with his medicine. And you know, although he's, a little on the slow end, he's smart at the same time. So one could argue, could he be doing this to have this set up to where it gets him what he's asking for? So where it's like, we're gonna get you sick on purpose. Do you think he would do that? Get him sick on purpose so that he's forced to go to this, what he's been asking for, and this is his third time trying to get out of where he's at now. Could that be the case? That's something to think about. Could that be what he's doing? Could that be what his team is doing? Like setting this up? Could somebody be trying to unalive him? Because it's like, it's easy. If this don't happen, they basically saying they threatening to kill him in the jail. So unalive him in the jail. So it's like, what's going on here? Something to think about. WWID, what would I do in this situation? So if it was me in this situation, and it sounds cliche, but y'all don't understand the power of prayer, I would be prayed up, because if I'm thinking somebody's trying to unalive me, and I would just be praying them good prayers, them ones that, you know, let every weapon formed against me. What is it? It said, every weapon formed against me shall not prosper. I'll be deforming every weapon formed against me. I'll be saying, you know, just coming up with some of the best phrases to say to cancel and reject every plot of the, you know, the enemy. Like, I'll be saying all stuff because I'm like, I ain't, you know, I'm gonna cancel everything because it happens in the spirit before the natural. And so you even hear them stories. You know, it's going around, it's going viral now. How people were saying, where was God during slavery? And they talk about Harriet Tubman and how she was getting prophetic dreams from God on how to get the people out of slavery, right? Did you know that there's a thing with Abraham Lincoln? This is so random, but I love it. And Abraham Lincoln basically had a dream that he was going to be murdered. And then he got murdered. Now, some people may say, well, it was just a dream, but I believe that was a prophetic warning. And I believe, and I know for a fact, when you get those types of dreams and downloads, there are things that spiritually in those dreams you can come into agreement with and things that you can cancel. Now, some things can be canceled completely. Some things have to happen, but not as extreme. And then some things are just, this is going to happen, deal with it. But I believe if Abraham Lincoln knew about how to cancel that, he would have been able to do it. Now, back to R. Kelly, or back to me in this situation. So in this situation, I would have been, you know, prayed up. I'd be watching everything I'm taking. I'd be very conscious. I wouldn't just take it like normal. I might be faking. You know what the people do in the crazy house where they take the stuff, act like they take and put it under their tongue and just let it sit. I'd be doing stuff like that. He wouldn't get me. WWJD, what would Jesus do? Now, obviously, Jesus signed up to be put down. Put down sound like a dog. I'm sorry, but to be, you know, unalived. He signed up for that. He knew what was going to happen. But in this situation, I believe that the most ethically, morally correct thing to do would be what he's doing, fighting it in a court case, trying to, you know, say, hey, y'all, this is what's going on. And, you know, using it, fighting it with the law. In this case, that would be the most ethically, morally correct thing to do, I believe. I do. And then WSMD, what should men do in this situation? I feel that men should exercise their rights. I'm glad that, I mean, I don't know if R. Kelly can fight. Well, he was fighting women. That ain't the same as fighting men, right? So I would feel as though he should. I don't want to say this. I think that in this case like this, all you can do is cry for help. And maybe if he can, I don't know if he could, but to get some data, or just maybe not data, but like just maybe if there's a way he can get some evidence going, or try to keep some tabs of things that's happening, maybe keep a journal of saying like what's going on today that he feels, you know, in danger. But a lot of them people probably in the studio or in the jail cell studio probably don't care, and they probably want this to happen. And then for them, at the end, you heard the video where they said the man was like, they paying somebody to like take him out. So it's like, what's going on? Is this a part of some bigger conspiracy theory that's bigger than the jail cell? You know what I mean? You just never know these days. And I know people say they don't believe in conspiracy theories. I do. A lot of them are right, and I don't care what none of y'all say. So keep that in mind. All right. All right, y'all. So the final topic today, we're going to talk about David Banner, Pan-African. I guess that's how I don't know, I have my views on Pan-Africanism and just the whole, we are God net thing. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to watch this clip. This is from the Neighborhood Talk. I'm trying to get back to the old school where I was really just finding YouTube videos, and I probably could have found one for this, but this just made it a little too easy. So let me share my screen and let's get to going.
You want to fix your black ass. You the problem. Devil, you the devil. The reason why they give you something exterior, so you'll never fix you. If you keep blaming on the devil, you won't fix your black ass. You the problem. Go fix you. If you didn't make the team, and the devil didn't do it, you didn't do your reps. You didn't stay in the gym. That ain't the devil, that's you. But they tell you the devil so you will never fix the devil in your black ass. And if you really believe in God and think that God is omnipotent, how you put anything next to God? If God created the devil, you shouldn't even put the devil in the same conversation. I don't believe in the devil. Man, the devil, you the devil.
All right, so now let's get into the first part, which is what does this have to do with mental health? So obviously the study of how we act, think, and feel. And from one angle, I'll say this, because I play devil's advocate, right? There's no devil. On one angle, when he says that when people blame everything on the devil, right? I agree that people will blame everything on the devil. They'll be like, oh, this happened to me, it's the devil. Oh, this happened, it's the devil. Oh, this ain't working, it's the devil. Oh, the devil coming after my relationship. Oh, this and that. And there are times where the devil will. But a lot of times, a lot of things that happen to us are the results of the consequences of our actions. And so, you talk, going back to the relationship thing, right? God never told you to be in a relationship. You didn't ask God to be in that. You know what I mean? You ain't say, Lord, is this the one? You didn't do that. You just jumped in it and was like, Lord, bless it. And that's a lot of times things that we do. We just jump into things that we think is right and then say, well, God bless it. And that's not what he told you to do. So that's something to keep in mind too. And so when we get into how we act, think, and feel in our decision making, we'll think that we being blocked because of the devil. Sometimes God will block stuff too. He'll block it because you going back down the road you're not supposed to be in. Like, you know what, you're not listening, so I'm gonna take you off the road because you're trying to make something work that's not for you. And people don't think about that. So from with that angle of, we blaming the devil, like he said, I do agree when you say you over here blaming the devil and make the team, but you ain't doing enough reps. So, let's just even go deeper than just the devil. We always think everybody against us, and a lot of times, a lot of things are our own fault. So now, do I agree that there's a devil? Well, no, for a fact there's one, but a lot of things, aren't the devil. A lot of things are. But let's get to the next part, because I got more to say. So WWID, what would I do in this situation? So again, he made a good point, but then I don't agree that there is no devil, because he did make the point when he was like about the whole omnipotent thing. Like a lot of times we do you see those memes and those pictures, and they're like, he'll say like God and the devil arm wrestling. And then we'll see them other ones where they make it like God, they're equals and their battle is the same. When in reality, God is on his own level. If anything, the devil is on the same level as the archangels, which is Michael and Gabriel. And then it would be the devil. So he on the level with them, not God. So when it comes to that, and it comes to what was I going to say? When it comes to that, and it comes to just battling and being caught up in God is omnipotent, that God can just block everything. Like, why does he allow this to happen? That's the one thing I'm going to. People are like, well, why God allowed this to happen? Why did God allow this to happen? A lot of things are because we are born into sin. And even like going back to the dream thing, right? God can allow you to see things in advance and give you warnings. Like I said, there's prophetic, prophetic words that are usually positive, and then there's prophetic warnings, right? And that was, again, going back to Abraham Lincoln, that was prophetic warning. So sometimes it'll say, well, why didn't he show me this, or why did he allow this to happen? Some things we brought upon ourselves. You know what I mean? You brought this upon yourself. You didn't feel like I'm all over the place, but just hear me out. You brought this upon yourself, whether it was, I keep going back to relationships today, but if you're dating somebody, I don't have no notes for these days. I just kind of wing it, right? So you going back to that relationship, you wasn't supposed to be there in the first place. You wonder why you're going through so much stress and all these things. You weren't supposed to be there in the first place. Why did he allow this to happen? Well, you didn't ever ask him. You know what I mean? Or usually the red flags that we always talk about, red flags, right? But then if you talk about like as something as serious as Abe Lincoln, and he getting that prophetic dream that he was supposed to be, murdered, which he was. If he would have known to, and he had been feeling uneasy all week, you got the signs, you didn't listen. And people might say that's extreme, but not really. You got the warnings in the dream, and then you got the warnings about how you was feeling. You was like, something ain't right. Usually that's real. That's the Holy Spirit telling you like this ain't it. Now maybe he should have took that week to say, I'm gonna just stay in the house this week. I don't know, but you know, it is what it is. But again, going back to the whole omnipotent thing, and you know, even his statement when he said that he just don't believe in it, that's a dangerous game to play, because it's like I just said, I was on a podcast recently. We talked about voodoo. Not voodoo. Well, I did bring up voodoo because we talked about how a lot of times people will say, well, if I don't believe in voodoo, it don't affect me, because we've normalized witchcraft and we've normalized voodoo and hoodoo. I ain't getting into sinners today. But when we've normalized these things, a lot of times people say, well, voodoo won't work on me if I don't believe in it. That's not true. So I think people trying to equate that with like the devil. If I don't believe in the devil, it ain't gonna affect me. And that's not the case. Like I used the example in that episode, which I'm actually about to stream. That's like saying if I don't pay attention to that car whilst I'm walking down the street, does that mean I'm not gonna get hit if I'm walking in this we cross paths? Does that mean, well, because I'm not paying attention to it? You know what I'm saying? And people might say that's an extreme, you know, analogy, but it's really not. It's really not. David Banner made good points towards the end, but like again, saying the devil don't exist, it's like, no, that's not true. Now let's get into the next part. You know, WWJD, what would Jesus do? So we already know David Banner don't believe in the Bible. He, you know, whitewashed, it was made, we are gods and all these things. Now, but my response to the whole we are God statement, and I will always say, if you are God, so you say, this is what you said. Why are you getting sick? Why are you still dealing with the depression, the anxiety, and unforgiveness? You know what I'm saying? If you're a God, like you say, why did you have any special powers? You can move things with your mind. If you're a God, like you say, why are you still going around the same mountain, going around the same struggles, going around the same BS? If you are that, if you are a God, okay, this is what you say. So why are you still going through that? Why are you still struggling? These are things to ask yourself. If that's the case, if you are a God, why? Tell me how. I already know they're gonna say, "Oh, you brainwashed." Well, if I'm brainwashed, then I'm trying to figure out what you are. If I'm brainwashed, what are you? And explain how you're not brainwashed. Your ancestors not talking to you. They are no longer alive. And even though, and this ain't for the people that don't believe in the Bible. This for the people that believe in the Bible that be saying they cousins be visiting them in their dream. That's not your cousin. That's not your auntie. That's not your grandma. Your Bible explicitly says the dead don't know what the living are doing. So WSMD, what should men do in this situation? Now, this is where I'm really going to hit it home. I think that men should stop using excuses and crutches for when things go wrong, but also use it as a point to pivot and to see, where am I in error right now? What am I not doing? You know, and ask God to show you, like, am I, you know, operating illegally? Am I doing something? Am I not? You know, have you been spending your time with God? Have you been reading? Have you been praying? You know, things happen, life happens. We all go through that, right? You know, are you linking? Are you kicking it? Is there somebody around you that's allowing these things to happen? And I say that from the angle of, you don't know what spirits people got on them, but also people can be used to block you and delay you too. And so if you buddy with somebody, if you kicking it with somebody, and it's so many avenues and angles you can go with that. But I say all that to say, what should men do in this situation? Be able to defend the faith. We in a place now where, and you know, I'm even going to extend it, even though we know what type of podcast this is and what God I serve. Be able to defend whatever it is you believe in. Let's even extend it. Be able to defend it, and defend it without yelling, screaming, and arguing. So when you see those types of videos, you have great rebuttals. Now, just because you win a debate don't mean you're right, because there's people who will out debate a Christian who are Pan-Africanism, who do believe in hoodoo, voodoo, and spirituality and what our ancestors did, and will tear you up in a debate. That don't mean they're right. It's just that they better debate it. But be able to defend your faith, defend whatever it is you believe in without getting mad, without getting angry. And again, he wasn't angry or mad in that video or that clip. But the point that I'm making is, and again, I feel like I'm all over the place today, but I'm trying to tie it home. Like I said, we got more structure on the actual podcast. But I said that to say, keep in mind what God you serve, who you fighting for, and also remember that I don't got no remember that. I ain't gonna remember that. All right, I'm gonna end it there. Okay, y'all. So this week's episode features my boy Nate Evans. He actually was first introduced on a live stream early last year, and we were putting off his episode, but we have a great episode talking about men's vulnerability. He's an advocate, he's a speaker. We talk about vulnerability, we talk about men not being able to feel like they can talk. We talk about the orphan spirit. You know, I quote a lot of Cindy Trim in this episode. So check that out. Thank y'all for joining me on this evening. And again, I'm bringing it back on Monday. I'm finna go through a long laundry list of people and just say book them for Mondays so we can get that done. All right, y'all. PSA signing out. Always remember, keep your head up like your neck hurt. Remember who you are. Make your mind up. Don't let it make you. And remember, as always, I love us for real.